The debate over gun control in America has become one of the most contested and controversial debates of this generation. Many are very passionate about this issue, and this passion has sparked worldwide commentary. Late-night talk show hosts from British John Oliver to Australian Jim Jeffries have gained millions of views on their videos about the American gun debate. With America's staggering number of gun deaths, perhaps it is not surprising that so many people are so concerned with this issue. Compared to other developed nations, the U.S. has both the highest rates of gun violence and the largest number of gun deaths. According to a 2018 study, the United States was found to have had a rate of 13.6 gun-related deaths per 100,000 people in 2016, about 37,200 gun-related deaths. There is an astronomical difference between the gun deaths in the U.S. and the rest of the developed world. The UK, for example, had a rate of only 0.7. Furthermore, the U.S. has an unusually large number of mass shootings. The Stanford Geospatial Research Center defines mass shooting as an incident with 3 fatal or non-fatal injuries excluding the shooter, which is not related to organized crime. According to these criteria, 2015 saw an astounding 65 mass shootings. Given this terrible reality, why has the United States Congress been largely unable to pass sufficient gun reform legislation? There are many answers to this question, but a big part of the problem lies with the lobbying influence of the National Rifle Association, typically referred to as the NRA. The NRA has consistently worked to shut down legislation related to federal funding for gun violence research. The NRA was founded in 1871, in the years following the Civil War. It has since become one of the most powerful lobbying groups in Washington, D.C. The organization has closely aligned itself with the Republican Party and uses its power to put officials into office through campaign donations, ad campaigns, and mobilizing its members, thus giving it the power to sway elections on both the local and national level. The NRA bankrolls its political involvement with a budget that, according to a 2012 figure, hits a whopping $256 million. It has a membership totaling nearly 5 million people. There are numerous policies and proposals that have been impacted by the NRA through campaign financing, lobbying, and mobilization of voters. In this video, we explore one specific policy strongly influenced by the NRA that has created a significant barrier to comprehensive gun legislation in the United States. This policy we will address is the Dickey Amendment. Passed in 1996, the Dickey Amendment was a response to a report on gun violence released in 1994 by Mark Rosenberg, the director of the National Center for Injury and Prevention Control. This organization is part of the National Center for Disease Control and Prevention, hereafter referred to as the CDC. Rosenberg made significant claims about gun control, including that having a gun in one's house increases the likelihood of homicide and suicide. He proposed revolutionizing the way Americans look at guns to a perspective similar to that towards tobacco, saying, "It used to be that smoking was a glamour symbol, cool, sexy, macho. Now it is dirty, deadly, and banned." The NRA publicly interpreted Rosenberg's claims as stating that if research were to continue, gun ownership in principle would be threatened. Through lobbying, the NRA influenced Republicans in passing the Dickey Amendment, which states that none of the funds made available for injury prevention and control at the CDC may be used to advocate or promote gun control. Furthermore, the spending bill that the Dickey Amendment was added to cut the CDC budget by the exact amount that it had previously been allocated to spend on gun research. This effectively stopped the CDC from researching gun violence as a public health issue. The bill was sponsored by Jay Dickey, a lifelong member and supporter of the NRA, and it has been widely critiqued for its role in stopping comprehensive and credible government-backed research on guns. Although there is certainly no simple solution to gun violence in America, we propose that more credible research needs to be done on gun violence and the consequences of various gun policy proposals. The debate over gun control is highly polarized. One side says the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with the gun, while the other side argues that we need to ban guns in America. Each side claims that there is a lack of evidence for the opposing viewpoint. Credible research done by the CDC can help determine the most effective solutions to gun violence, as it has with other public health issues, such as tobacco and auto fatalities. The following clip from a 2016 town hall meeting features then-President Obama suggesting exactly that.
We used to have really bad auto fatality rates. The auto fatality rate has actually dropped precipitously, drastically, since I was a kid. Why is that? We studied what is causing this these fatalities using science and data and evidence, and then we slowly treated it like the public health problem it was, and it got reduced. We are not allowed to do any of that when it comes to guns because people, if you propose anything, it is suggested that we're trying to wipe away gun rights and impose tyranny and martial law. Do you know that Congress will not allow the Center for Disease Control to study gun violence? They're not allowed to study it because the notion is that by studying it the same way we do with traffic accidents, somehow that's going to lead to everybody's guns being confiscated.
In 2018, Congress passed a spending bill with language that allows the CDC to do research on gun violence. However, this bill does not provide funding for the research, and it is highly unlikely that anything will change without such a provision. The NRA has clearly influenced spending legislation, and efforts by congressmen and congresswomen have proven to have limited success in opposing the organization. This may indicate that active political participation by ordinary citizens is the key to passing reforms and making this country safer for everyone. Political participation from concerned citizens through marching, protesting, and voting may put legislators in power who can give the CDC the funding it needs to enact comprehensive research on gun violence and determine possible solutions.